Hello friends, Jennifer Pearson here, Thistle Gypsy, and I am here to talk about Biddy Tarot. And I thought maybe Biddy Tarot would be somewhere in this deck. This is the Everyday Tarot, and it is by Bridget Esselmont, who is the creator of Biddy Tarot. So there's Bridget Esselmont there. But it doesn't seem to be in here. So Biddy, B-I-D-D-Y, tarot.com. Yep, I thought surely it would be in here somewhere, but I'm not seeing it. But we're going to walk through this deck while I chat at you. So Biddy Tarot, my understanding is that it started out with Bridget wanting to just have a place, many years ago, before I even got back into tarot. So I got back into tarot at the time just before she was making a transition into a new way of doing business. Previously, for many years, she had had a website that was dedicated to card meanings. That's what it was about, was card meanings. So she had this for many years, and I don't know how long she had also run a free reading service, but she had a free reading service that matched, the general public with somebody who was willing to do free readings. Oftentimes people who were quite new to tarot and were wanting to gain experience. And that is how I got my first distance experience and my first experience reading for other people, really. Other people meaning outside of my sister and maybe one or two other people. So I had read mostly for myself, but I was feeling like I wanted to read for other people, that would be a great way for me to exercise my intuition and enjoy using cards more and stuff like that. And I saw it as reading as kind of a counterpoint to, my teaching of ESL, which tended to be very analytical. So, sorry, I'm all cockeyed here. At that time, it was about $30 to become, so you paid for this opportunity to read, to do the free readings, which sounds strange, but it's an education, right? And or it's a way to just contribute to, to people who are not able to afford a reading otherwise and thus are looking for a free reading. So, like a community service. And there were people on there who said that they pretty much did it as, a community service, as a hobby, that they were in there doing it for that reason. And some of those people felt that people shouldn't charge for readings anyway. And then what you're paying for is having, for one thing, that wall between you and the client, which can be great for maintaining privacy. And it's pretty much a steady stream of people interested in having their cards read, So if you wanted to feel like you were contributing, it worked, because there were people wanting your readings. You were given an opportunity to read. However, when I first joined, although there was a forum there that was useful, there wasn't an educational aspect. There wasn't a podcast, things of that nature. And so when she went through a rebranding and changing her business model, in large part, an overhaul, she added a bunch of educational components. And so that are free to people who sign on as part of the community. So you can come in as part of the community and not be a free reader, whereas previously it was pretty much if you were coming on board into the community, it was to be a free reader. So I was on for, I think, 3 months, and then and had a good experience. Really appreciated the experience, but then, was ready to launch a website and wanted to concentrate on other things, and so I let my membership go. And then I think like 3 months later, I was looking into going back and discovered that it was much more expensive because of her change in her business model. So I decided to forego that. It was essentially too expensive for me in terms of just getting more experience. I had started my YouTube channel, and I could offer free readings on my YouTube channel, and people would take me up on those. So so that was that, and I figured that was the end of any possibility of my ever participating in Biddy Tarot again because of how the prices were jacked up, and there was quite a bit of controversy around that. And then I can't remember if sometime like in the spring or something I looked into it again, just to kind of occasionally do a personal reading. As I've said here on my channel, I was working full-time, and it quickly became apparent when I started to work full-time that I really couldn't be doing personal readings, and so I just kind of stopped that. And then I was thinking, well, maybe I can do, one a week or something like that, because on the Biddy Tarot website, one of the nice things is that at any time you can opt out of doing readings at all. It's a simple click box. I'm not doing readings right now. And you can keep a prior schedule that you had for reading. And you can choose how many readings you want per day. So if you just want one on a Saturday is all you want to see, that's your availability, that's fine. You just sign it up like that, and that's what you get. And at that point, I think what I was seeing was that there were no openings. No openings, no openings. You would have to get on a waiting list. And then about 3 weeks ago, so I had I'll call it my bad 2020 summer. I actually had pretty bad 2020 spring too. My 2020 tower summer. And, I'm starting to revive out of that, or I was, and then I've been sick this past week. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, but definitely feeling like I'm headed in the right direction and thinking about getting back into doing personal readings. But I didn't want to push myself, and I didn't want obligations. I didn't want somebody paying for something and expecting it, within a few days or something. And I definitely didn't want to be approached by many people wanting readings. So I looked into Biddy Tarot again, because you can do it in such a measured fashion. I could start with 1 a week, I could start with 2 a week, 3 a week, and then I would find kind of where my tolerance level was, that, a healthy level for me at my current energy, my current work situation, all of those things taken into account. What would, what I can realistically take on. And then if I were to open myself up to paid private readings, I could put some kind of a limit that makes sense to me. So I looked at Biddy Tarot again and discovered, actually a bit of a shock, not that there were openings for readers joining the community, but that it was back at the old price point of, I think it was 30 or 29 or 39. I can't remember how much. I think it was 29. So yeah, from years ago. And so I thought, thank you. Thank you, Bridget. That was great timing. And so I entered the new environment, the new business model for the first time. And, it has much the same as what it had before, but it has all of these other educational components, how to read the cards, a bunch of, mostly podcast is how she likes to work. So bunches of podcasts and videos talking about how to read the cards and different aspects of card reading. And, there's a forum for people who are interested in or in the process of starting their own business and launching. And that has been great for doing some, I wasn't expecting that, and that was great. And I have encountered somebody who's kind of thinking along the same lines as I am, and kind of in the same process, and so we've kind of paired up. You really have people on there that are all different levels. People who are just starting out and are really nervous about doing their first free reading. People who just have super valuable advice to give because of their experience. So I would say, I highly recommend it. If you're new and, even though you're paying to give free readings, you're paying for the education and the experience. And it's more than just the education that Bridget is providing with all of her podcasts and videos and things like that. But the education that you're drawing from this resource of the forum and all of these other readers. And it's a support system as well, It gives you really valuable experience in terms of the great variety. I mean, this is like Walmart, it's free. Anybody can ask the question. There are guidelines they're supposed to follow, but of course people don't follow them. And so you learn all of that. You learn that people won't follow the guidelines. It's a free reading, but their payment is supposed to be the feedback. You learn that people will not give feedback. You learn that people will give you negative feedback, even if the vast majority of your feedback is positive. I would say you probably haven't been on there enough or haven't taken enough risks as a reader if you don't get somebody who gives you some negative feedback. And then that's a learning experience in itself in terms of how you react to receiving that negative feedback, and then consideration if you intend to ever, be paid for, turn it into a business, what is going to be your response to that? On her site, you get rated but you're asked also to give feedback, to give some form of written feedback. She clearly has a form that she's set up so that when people are giving feedback, they can just kind of click something off and you just see the feedback that they've clicked off. But usually people will also provide a sentence or two, of their own thoughts or sentences, their original thoughts, as opposed to just clicking something. But there's also a rating, so it's 5 stars, and so I really think it is a really valuable resource for somebody who's starting out and or is thinking of starting to do paid readings. Seeing all of the people who come across, all of the different questions that come across the transom, or the sameness of a lot of the questions that come across the transom, is valuable in terms of deciding how you want to position yourself. What kind of readings do you want to do? It's also great in that, if something comes across that you don't feel comfortable with, either you don't want to, because that's not going to be the sort of thing you want to do, or it goes against your ethics as a reader, or it's something you don't have experience in, you have the option of passing that reading on to another person. You can decline the reading. They prefer that you not, but you can do that. And so for me in my situation, that's super useful. I'm much more comfortable this time around just taking anything that comes my way. But I'm not 100% well. So it's really good for me to know that if I run into a situation where I'm not feeling well, and I've set myself up with X readings for a week and some come in and I can't handle them, that I can go to the Biddy Tarot team or flag them as ones that I'm not able to do, and they will route them to another reader. So, that's valuable to me as well for those reasons. I'm trying to think of other things I've thought about. So there was a lot of, I think, controversy around around this transition to a different business model by Bridget. But I feel like she's done really well, and I don't resent it, even though, again, it became too expensive for me. It's like, well, that's life. That's not an unusual thing for me. There's any number of decks I'd love to have, and they're too expensive, and it's like, there's no point in resenting the deck maker, More power to them. If I'm going to be resentful of being kept out of something due to my financial situation, it's going to be healthcare. It's not going to be anything to do with tarot. And so I feel like she, that she wasn't just being a money grubber. She actually, again, had a business model that she was putting in place, and she was wanting to, and I feel that she does, deliver value. So, go Bridget. And, she has other... So when you enter as just a community member, there are a bunch of free resources there for people who are beginners. But if you want to go in further depth, and there's a forum for people who are starting their business, but there's always ways to level up. So if you want to be certified as a tarot reader, that's a completely different course, and it's a different cost. If you want to go through, I don't know what her tarot business options are, because I'm 100% certain that they're beyond what I can afford. And but they're there for people who want to make use of them. And again, I don't have any doubt that she's doing her best to provide value within whatever she's trying to do. So I just wanted to kind of share my experiences with Biddy Tarot, the value that I see as a free reader in a variety of contexts, whether you're just starting out. You know, it was worth it to me to pay $30, and you can opt out at any time, to pay that $30 years ago, just to find out if I could do it, for one, and do it on the other side of the world. You know, you've got people from the United States, the UK. I read for somebody, I think, in New Zealand, and somebody in India, you know, that first time around. I've only done a few of them this time around. I'm going at it very slowly. I was much more a whole hog the last time. So yeah, very valuable. And I just even had an experience this week where I had a request that really pushed my comfort zone. And again, learning experience. It's like, all right, so as I go forward, do I want to say I am not going to do these kinds of readings? It's a kind of reading I've come up against before. For privacy purposes, I'm not going to say exactly what that is, but and that's in private reading. I'd come up against it, and it had made me, I did it, and it had made me rather uncomfortable. It was successful in that the person that found value in it, and, you know, but I wasn't very comfortable doing it, and so I really have to question whether that needs to be just a no-go for me. It's like I want to do it, but it's like it takes maybe too much out of me still. And so again, super valuable learning experience for me in that. You know, it sets me back a little bit and says, well, I thought I wanted to do X. Maybe I don't really. when it comes down to brass tacks, maybe I don't really. So yeah, it's really helping me think about what I want to do going forward, as well as testing my limits. And it's like this coming week, I'm not going to accept any readings, because this past week I did accept readings while I wasn't feeling well, and so I feel like I need to recoup and get some rest in the evenings and that sort of thing, for the coming week. And it's great to be able to do that and know that, you know, anybody who wants a reading is still going to get it. It's just going to get it from somebody else. So, you know, that's lovely too. And I can't seem to be able to align these with the with the camera at all. All right, so yeah, I just wanted to yak at people, give Biddy Tarot and Bridget Esselmont a little love and gratitude for what they offer the tarot community and people who are just getting into tarot and people who've been in it for a while, like myself. You know, it's not just for new people. It's whether or not you see a use for doing this within the system that it has been created. So, all right, I'll leave it at that, and I will see you all later. Take care. Bye-bye.